All right, I think we're ready to get started. We are still expecting a few speakers to join us. That's one of the reasons why we started a little bit early to get everybody into the space. I think we're currently still missing Fetch.ai, Humayun. I think he just joined us. Yeah, I think we're ready to go. I think we'll have all five speakers here now. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Off the Chain AMA by Bitmart. I'm your host, Kelechi Ibe. Today's topic of discussion is one that I'm really, really excited about. We'll be discussing the convergence of AI and blockchain, two of the most transformative technologies of our time. As you all know, with the rise of OpenAI and ChatGPT, we've seen major players like Microsoft, obviously, Google, Meta, betting big on AI technology. And it's clear that AI is, poised to change virtually every industry. Meanwhile, we have blockchain, which is already making waves, in finance, in identity, in digital ownership, supply chain management, and other areas, thanks to its unique ability to facilitate secure, decentralized data sharing. So I guess by bringing these two technologies together, we have the potential to create new applications and new use cases that can truly change the world. So to help us learn about these two amazing technologies, we have five promising AI companies in the blockchain space, who, by the way, have done really well since the AI narrative became mainstream. We have Joshua Hong from Synopsis One. We have Humayun Sheikh from Fetch.ai. We have Feng from DeepBrain Chain. We have Zachary Barnett from GNY, and Jack from Aspecta. So our panel will be split into five sessions, beginning with Synopsis One, followed by Fetch.ai, DeepBrain Chain, GNY, and Aspecta. And then finally, we will conclude with a Q&A at the end. So before we get started, I would like to announce that we have a 500 USDT giveaway, where 10 lucky winners will receive 50 USDT each for giving the correct answer to our quiz question at the end of the first panel. Winners will be contacted in 72 hours on how to claim their prize and their reward. So please stay tuned for that. Now, let's meet our speakers. Gentlemen, can you briefly tell us about yourself and your company? Let's start with Joshua.
Yes, thank you for the opportunity to host. Can you hear me? I just want to make sure that my microphone works.
Yes, we can hear you clearly.
Okay, great. Yeah, so I am Joshua Hong, founder of Synopsis One. We are a AI data crowdsourcing platform with a system that was built on Solana. We have been in development for the past well over 18 months, and we're probably within about 15 to 30 days away from going to mainnet with our entire system going live. So we're very excited about that.
Awesome. Thanks, Joshua. I believe this is your second time appearing in the Off the Chain Twitter space. So
Yes.
Thank you for taking the time to be here once again.
Sure.
Awesome. Next, we have Humayun.
Hey, hi everybody. My name is Humayun Sheikh. I am Fetch CEO and founder, and my background is from machine learning and AI. I was one of the first investors and commercial directors in DeepMind, which exited to Google. Fetch.ai is building the whole infrastructure and the framework where we enable all these deployments which are coming as a result of this whole AI, generative AI, and also the identity and bringing all of that together. So you can deploy the solutions, bring them all together on the Fetch network. We're a relatively old project. We came about 4 years ago, and we're now at a stage where the network is already up and running. We have the ability to deploy the solutions, and within March, we're going to be making technical releases which will enable everybody to deploy solutions, bringing all these technologies together. Thank you.
Thank you. That sounds really exciting. Yeah, thank you for joining us. Feng?
I think he might be
Can
muted.
you hear me? Feng He from DeepBrain Chain.
Yeah, yeah. Hi everyone, I'm Ni, the co-founder of DeepBrain Chain, and I will replace Feng for this AMA. From 2011, we started our business in the field of artificial intelligence and have taken 8 million investment from Jihu 360 and Gobi, Jingdong, and just and other investment institutes. At the end of the 2011, we released China's first smart voice assistant, Smart 360, and in 2014, we released the world's first voice interaction AI speaker, the Xiaozi Super Speaker. And in 2017, we founded DeepBrain Chain and have been working on it till today. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Feng. Great to have you here. I'm Zachary.
Hi, everyone. My name is Zachary Barnett. I'm head of operations for Genie.io. Our main product, the Genie Range Report, is live. It's a consumer-facing product that uses AI forecasting to bring investors forecasts and indicators regarding the crypto market for both Bitcoin and Ethereum, expanding soon to top 10 cryptos in the next month. We also have our mainnet, and our focus is how to apply all the exciting principles within AI using the blockchain to establish a collaborative platform that allows both developers and investors to take advantage of these two technologies and what they hold together.
Thank you, Zachary. Excited to have you here. Jack?
Hi, everyone. My name is Jack. I'm the co-founder of Aspecta. So Aspecta transform your Web2 and Web3 footprints into an AI-generated identity called Aspecta ID for pioneer builders and beyond. Basically, after linking your account like GitHub, StangoFlow, Twitter wallet address to Aspecta, we will we will give you an AI-generated identity, including a personal web page, Soulbound token, and metaverse twins for you to demonstrate your achievements based on your code contribution, take posts, take pens or papers, and transactions on different blockchains. So I expect that we actually envision an interactive identity ecosystem for like Aspect ID holders and third-party applications to utilize, transform, and store data across Web2 and Web3. So right now, we have 130K Aspect ID holders in the waiting list. Most of them are builders, especially Web3 builders, and we have completed 2 rounds of closed alpha, more than 100 developers and builders, especially those like KOL developers or startup CTOs has joined our closed alpha, and they are actually use their Aspect ID. We are preparing for our beta. We will have an open beta for anyone, especially other builders and developers, to claim their Aspect ID maybe at the end of April. Yeah, so we have been building Aspecta for about a year. So looking forward to talking more about Aspecta and the intersection of AI and blockchain.
Absolutely. Thank you for being here with us. I'm very excited to hear more about Aspecta for sure. So right now we're actually going to start with Joshua to learn more about Synopsis 1. Joshua, one of the selling points of Synopsis 1 is like crowdsourcing of data for AI. Can you tell us more about how this can be a competitive edge for companies?
Yeah, I mean, the most AI systems needs data that is whether in its entirety or in some fashion handled by humans. A typical system, if you put in garbage in there, then it's going to spew out garbage. If you put in good data, then it's going to analyze it and give you a good output. So if you look at some of the biggest big tech AI systems out there, they all use crowdsourcing or some form of crowdsourcing as a way to aggregate humans to come and cleanse their data. For example, Mechanical Turk does a lot of that for the Amazon. OpenAI, they use a Scale.ai. The Microsoft traditionally have used this company called clickworker.com out in Germany. And they use these entities that are usually operating outside of the regular public view, but they all do it. And there are millions of people joining this platform as some kind of digital gig, and then they provide these services. I think the problem is the recruiting quality workers and have them sort of kind of work on a type of assignments that will generate better results for this AI. That is not a exact science. It's all in the operation. It is all in the in how you train these people. So we built our entire system on a Web3 environment where anyone around the world can use their Phantom wallet that could plug into our system and start training AI as if they're playing a game. And then they get paid almost instantly, like usually within, let's say, days after they complete their work. So we provide this type of a unique, highly secure, highly decentralized, and the payment can be done very quickly using our crypto. And also we bring some of these gamification technologies to make sure that these assignments are handled very easily. So any AI companies out there who's willing to crowdsource a lot of these data, especially data that is more on the conversation AI side, I think we will be providing a very competitive solution to them.
Well, that's very exciting.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it seems crowdsourcing is definitely going to be a thing that a lot of companies will be, looking to do to get high quality data for their different operations. And I guess you briefly touched on this, but about the quality of data for AI systems. And can you tell us for our audience who are very new into the AI system or the AI world, why the lack of high quality data sets is a problem for AI systems?
Yeah, so I mean, I could maybe use one specific use case that was actually mentioned. I think it was on the New York Times a few weeks ago. So if you look at ChatGPT, obviously by the OpenAI, and they spend millions of dollars actually making sure that some of the content that goes into the system has been properly moderated, especially when it comes to, let's say, child pornographies or some kind of hate speech related content. Now, this type of content is not something that machine or algorithm can easily judge. When you look at some kind of pornographic image, and then there's a person in there, now, can a machine can identify the particular person as a child who's under 12 years old versus, over 18? It is in the gray area. It requires some sort of human judgment. Now, who's going to provide this in a way that is economically feasible? Now, for OpenAI situation, they hired this company called Sama out in Silicon Valley, and they hired literally thousands of workers in Africa. And they were given these specific sets of probably millions of images coming to their desktop. And then they had to tag a particular image is, let's say, acceptable versus not acceptable based on some kind of criteria. Now, you take that case, that particular use case, and start applying that to many other situations where there's a many grades of societal acceptability in terms of judging a certain content meets certain criteria. And that's where the quality comes in. And this is where how AI companies must spend money to make sure that they comply and then be able to handle this type of kind of sort of a gray area, human judgment requiring situation. So like I see our space quietly growing very quickly. In fact, if you look at Meta, people don't know this, but they traditionally spend over $500 million. Typically, they used to hire Accenture to handle a lot of content moderations. And a lot of people think that it's a machine. I would say about 85% to maybe 90% machine, but still there's a 10% that has to be handled by humans out there. So, and there's a lot of issues with this, meaning a lot of these millions of workers who join, they completed their assignments, but they're not getting paid properly, or they have certain issues because you look at same images all the time, repetitively, and there's a lot of, sort of a medical sort of situation. So, this is not a kind of work that, let's say, high-flying big techs would want to tackle on their own. They would rather outsource. And this is where a company like us that is completely based on Web3, decentralized, crypto-based, and then we gamify the whole system. We bring our platform as a solution to any large AI companies that needs our type of solutions. So that's essentially what we do.
Interesting. Yeah, I can see how, like low quality data can be a problem. Yes. And especially, when you're not incentivizing people the right way, that, will also lead to further like lower quality data. But it seems like you guys are using the blockchain, technology to kind of gamify the process and reward people for actually doing work, which is something we're actually going to touch on a little bit. But I really want to ask you about something you were really like interested in telling our audience, and it's something called symbolic AI. Can you tell us a little bit about what symbolic AI is? Because quite frankly, I honestly don't know what that is. So I'm sure most of our audience may not know what that is. So can you tell us why that is important?
Yeah, the symbolic AI is one of a few techniques to perform artificial intelligence. And now, over the past, let's say, 2, 3, even 4 decades or so, AI, what used to be studied as more of a linguistically driven exercise, became machine learning. And then these AI scientists, principally, from, let's say, Canada, I think the University of Toronto based scientists came up with this idea that they can mimic a computer system on like a human's brain. And then they created this neural network and then basically statistically crunch very large sets of data to create or generate some kind of pattern. And then on that basis, then you create this artificial intelligence. That is more fashionable way of getting things done in terms of AI today. And like most of the big techs actually use that. Now, in order to pursue that kind of AI, you need, first of all, very large sets of data, and then you need very powerful computing system in order to handle those. And this is what people call deep learning or neural network based and so on and so forth. That is the latest. Now, when AI got started back in the, let's say, 50s and 60s, the original scientists actually started this entire movement as more of a symbolically driven AI. And then they used this special, very old, archaic programming language called Lisp. And then that's what my sister company, the Mind AI, uses. And it's a symbolically processed. And in order to apply this more of an old craft, you need to sort of kind of build your data set in a very particular manner. But when you do it, and when you do it correctly, it is way more deterministic, meaning it's not a statistical pattern recognition like how your brain sort of functions, but rather because of the way the logic is encoded right at the linguistic level. Like when you say, I like you, and that you like me, therefore you and I like each other, that kind of reasoning, we put that into a data set, and then you encode it right at the data level. So the upside of such approach is that, number one, it's way more precise. Number two, it does not require heavy duty computing system. You could literally run that kind of the artificial intelligence out of small devices. And then secondly, thirdly, it's usually pretty fast. So what the ChatGPT is what AI scientists call generative AI. So it's a classic sort of a machine learning based, it's a pattern recognition. So when it generates an answer, it's probabilistic. It has maybe 65% chance that it may be accurate, maybe 89%, but you never know whether it's 100%. In fact, you never know how the system actually reached that answer because it's all statistically crunched with a large sets of data through pattern recognition. When you use symbolic AI, actually, it's very deterministic. When it says, let's say telemedicine situation, AI diagnoses a certain disease and it comes with a certain answer, it is based on this clear data set and it's a lot more precise. So I think that the future of AI is actually somewhere between the two. Like it's like humans, there are the type of humans who are very chatty, that can fill the room with all kinds of stories. He may not be the subject matter expert in answering something, but he could get close by sort of bullshit his way through. And that's a sort of generative AI. I mean, it's still intelligent. You just never know whether he is truly scientifically accurate. Versus you could talk to another person who is subject matter expert and who has an answer, who's a doctor who could authoritatively say that XYZ is a disease and XYZ is not. So I think the future of AI is where these two systems kind of merge, and then they use the strength of each other, and then provide a useful services to humanity.
Very, very interesting. Wow, I didn't know that about ChatGPT. That they use some form of probabilistic kind of way to give result. And you said symbolic AI use more of a deterministic approach, which according to what you said is a little bit more accurate, and that's the future of AI moving forward, right? Interesting, very interesting. Yeah, I would like to dig into that a little bit more, but unfortunately we don't have that much time to go into that topic. But I think it's a very, very interesting thing to look into, symbolic AI. But I really want to get into how blockchain really intersects with Synopsis 1, and how AI also plays a part in that as well. So can you give us what role gamification in Synopsis 1's approach to data ownership and monetization? Like, how does it work? How does blockchain help enable Synopsis 1 become a better AI company?
Yeah, so the Synopsis 1 was created in order to provide the data sets for this conversational AI company that I co-founded named Mind AI. It's a company that is based in South Korea. It won, I think, 14 out of 20 best startup awards in the past 2 years' time. It's a symbolic AI base. It's a conversational AI system that we built. As I was building that, I realized that we need to get quality data sets, and it costed a lot of money. We needed to also build this, like a large team of linguists who can supply the data. Rather than doing it on our payroll, why not crowdsource it by creating crypto-based, blockchain-based system? And better yet, make it in such a way that it's heavily gamified. So the way we utilize our platform is that within our ecosystem, we identify three main functional roles. We have this sort of group of people called builders. They're the ones who are interacting with our mobile app, and they're supplying these conversational linguistic data sets. They're actually more like answering questions. And then we got a second group of people who are validators. These are a little more skilled. In fact, in order to qualify to become a validator, you have to go through a number of tests to get there. And then if you become a validator, then you actually make more money. And then your job is to validate all the data entries that has been submitted by the builders. Then we have a third category called architect that is more like an architect of a building that designs the whole system. So architects usually work with AI companies, understand their needs, and then they launch a campaign, and then they put bounty, and then they're the ones who's basically making sure that all the builders and validators perform their job in order to provide the data sets that AI companies are willing to pay. And we built the entire gamified system on Solana blockchain, so it's actually running. And these three different roles, it's sort of like playing a game. Let's say if you play RTS like a StarCraft, it's got three different factions. They're constantly fighting, but also they're collaborating and they're sharing resources and so on and so forth. We have exact same gamified system. So the builders and validators and architects, they compete, they also collaborate, and then they sort of work with each other to create these data sets that the AI companies are willing to pay for. So we use SNS token, which is our transaction token, as a way to pay all these different workers. And then we also have this thing called Canon NFT. This functions as a more like a membership entry card. So you need to have this Canon NFT in order to participate in this type of data entry work and make money. And so we've been testing. I mean, the system has been functionally live for the past 9 months already. And then we spent the last 6 months going through the open beta. So it's working very, very well. And it's very high performance system, meaning when you actually use it, you don't feel like you're using some kind of Web3 system because it's so fast. So we're super excited about this.
Very, very exciting, man. I like the more you talk about Synopsis One, the more bullish I get. I think this is a technology that's going to be here for a while, and especially when you combine it with the incentives that blockchain can provide to I guess reward users to do better work and to provide better data. I think this is a great way to help companies and to help AI companies perform at a much better rate. So thank you so much, Joshua, for joining us today. I really appreciate your time and your insight.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Before we move on to our next guest speaker, I would like to use this opportunity to read our quiz for the day. So the quiz question is, what was the total trading volume for Bitmart in 2022? Again, the question is, what was the total trading volume for Bitmart in 2022? Simply follow the instructions on the pinned tweets to participate in the giveaway. Make sure you use the hashtag Bitmart off the chain to increase your chances of winning. And yeah, when you look at the pinned tweets, you see some tips on how to basically find the answer to the question. So go ahead and do that if you want to win 50 USDT. And so now we'll move on to the next our next guest speaker. We have Humayun Sheikh from Fetch.ai. Humayun, thank you so much for joining us. Can you give us an overview of what Fetch.ai is?
Hey guys. Yeah, so we take a slightly different approach to things. We use a system called agent-based system. What agent-based system or agent-based modeling perhaps is the right starting point is what it does, it takes the complex systems and breaks them down into agents. So it makes it a multi-agent system. So let me just explain a little bit kind of how that works. Is you take you take a transaction, you have multiple stakeholders, and you have multiple tasks. You break them down into agents, and these agents are like microservices, perhaps like in a big monolithic structure, and they interact with each other. Now, the beauty here is that a lot of them will be autonomous transactions. So the whole point of our system is to bring all these autonomous agents together to kind of deploy to do a task, a more complex task. So, for example, if you said, I want to go and travel to, let's say, travel to Beijing, book a hotel, stay. There are multiple tasks involved, and so the whole process is quite complex. And I think this is quite an interesting overlap with what we were discussing previously with symbolic AI. You can do generative AI, and you can also do predictive machine learning, but you also, in a case of an action, you need a deterministic approach whereby you have to do something. So we're building the whole framework. We're building all the tools which enable you to bring predictive machine learning, deterministic machine learning together to enable an agent to perform an action. So just digging a little bit deeper into this. So if you look at the large language models, which ChatGPT and other the hype is all about at the moment, they generate text, they generate videos, pictures. But if you extrapolate that into the next level, what you need to do is some action. So you need to say, okay, I know what, for example, the predictively, I know what's the best room which could be available somewhere, or what's the best route to go somewhere. Now, how do I actually perform that action? So if I said, go and book me a hotel room, I've predicted that this one or this location is interesting. You then convert that into a very deterministic approach using the customer's context, and you then have to perform that action, go out and do something. So that requires quite a lot of integration. So what we provide is not only the ability to take that predictive machine learning model, to build it. So we have tools also, possibly collaborative tools, which like something like Synopsis probably will do, and then combine that into a more deterministic rule-based system within a micro agent or an agent, and then have the integration to actually perform that action. So rather than just taking this approach, and the problem here is that this is a new field, you need to have an end-to-end system for this to be truly useful for not just smaller companies, but also individuals. So we're bringing that whole infrastructure to market where you can deploy a machine learning model, take the inference of that machine learning model, connect that to a autonomous agent. The autonomous agent has integrations to perform an action. So what that enables you to do is to open up all these marketplaces where these agents can look for each other, they can connect with each other, they can actually perform the task. So I'm going to kind of go out and say this, but it kind of changes the search and discovery model, which we've been relying on up till now. So there are two models of search and discovery. One is the more textual based. So you'd use something like Google or Bing, where you would go and you will search for text and you'll get a response. And then if you want to then go and let's say perform an action, you will then go to the aggregators. So for example, if you wanted to book a hotel, you wanted to book a flight, you wanted to get in a cab, you will go to the likes of Uber, you will go to the likes of booking.com. You'll do these actions through the aggregators. And the reason is you can't really go through in a very deterministic way all the possible alternatives that you could use. So we take, I mean, so it's a lot to kind of absorb, but just to then try and bring it to simplification is you don't have to do those processes. You can just ask your agent to do something for you as a task, and the agent goes off and gives you the best options, which is closer to where, if you look at Bing's ChatGPT integration, that's kind of the model. But we go a bit further than that, where we say, okay, all these integrations are in place, where peer-to-peer models can completely bring all of this together. So hopefully that gives you some context and idea of what we do.
Yeah, absolutely. Sounds like Fetch.ai. It's kind of like a one-stop shop, I guess, for developers and AI machine learning engineers to really get the full benefits of AI. And I want to like segue and ask a question about that's related to what you've said so far. Like when it comes to the Fetch.ai, like what are the specific AI elements that Fetch.ai leverages to perform its job?
Yeah, so we have three major components. As I was taking you through before, so one is this autonomous economic agents. These are agents which could have machine learning and AI techniques embedded into them. Things it's a bit more the kind of the action part of the whole system, which is that it kind of actually goes out and actually performs a transaction. It actually goes out and kind of performs all the integrations that are needed. And that's like the front end, effectively. It takes the consumer's requirement, it takes machine learning models outputs and perform an algorithmic kind of action-based, perform the action in itself. It does the symbolic kind of reasoning. So that's the output. It's like having like a web interface, which is the entry point. That then connects with multiple other agents. So it's called an agent framework, which enables you to communicate with multiple agents to create these small services, which you could actually put together. So if you think of a microservices architecture for Web 2, you could actually, but in Web 2, but it also in a monolithic kind of system, you can then think of this as a microservices architecture for Web 3 or Web 2.5, because we want to use all the tools which exist already in Web 2.0. So that's one component. The other component is to train these machine learning models. Why do we need these machine learning models? Is we need to have an input into the decision making of these agents. So you have this infrastructure where you can deploy collaborative machine learning models. You can invite multiple either IoT devices, multiple stakeholders to train these models to deliver this prediction into the agent. So for example, I could say, where do I get the weather prediction for this location? So it is the integration which goes into the agent to perform that decision-making process. Then you have the search and discovery engine, which sits bang in the middle of it, which is part of the agent kind of framework. What it does is it enables and creates so marketplaces. How do you find agents which can do different services? So it connects them all together and actually enables these marketplaces to be formed. So actually the users can actually offer a service via an agent, and the consumers can actually find the service via the agent. And then all of that the substrate and the orchestrator is the chain. So Fetch has its own Cosmos-based chain where you record all the transactions, because all these microtransactions which need to happen either to buy the data, the inference, carry out the integration, add identity to the agents, all of that is orchestrated via the chain. And that's where the blockchain side of this comes in, because you need to keep an audit trail, you need to keep a kind of economic value transfer ledger. So all of that is dealt by with the Fed chain. So that's the main components of our system.
Great. Thank you for providing more insight about that. For our next question, we'd like to know obviously you've explained about everything that you guys do and how companies can benefit, but can you tell us what's the main problem that Fetch.ai is trying to solve, and what technology do you leverage to address it?
Yeah, it again kind of feeds back into what I was saying. So the agent-based systems is what we kind of really our roots are into that. But as I said, there's multiple components to it. The main problem at the moment is this: the search is broken. The whole search and discovery model is broken now because the technology has moved on. So just to give you an example, let's say you're looking for a service in, and gig economy is where we're kind of seeing a huge growth, like the delivery systems and everything, cabs with Uber, or the service-based economy where somebody is providing a service and then you're looking for a service. So the problem here is that search is very inefficient for such gig economy things. Why? Because the cost of advertising is on the increase quite a lot. I mean, to advertise on Google, perhaps, and even get a click-through, you are paying $4 or $5 and sometimes in hundreds of dollars, right? There's no need at this point in time, and they will, the search engines will carry on doing this because their whole model is based on advertising. That's broken, and the main problem we're trying to solve here is it's twofold. One, how do you make this search more efficient and cost-effective? Because finding peers is very difficult. How do you find peers to do anything with? So if I said, I want to look for a company which provide me identity service, which is compatible with something I'm doing. The way to find them, the way to connect with them is quite cumbersome. You go on the site, you go find out, you go to the developer side. We're making all of that integration into small agent-based microservices, which you can actually discover and connect with a few lines of code. So that's one problem. And then you can find these services easy. The second problem is the automation problem. I mean, we've seen this in crypto. We've seen this in Web3. There's a lot of steps you need to take to get somewhere. And that still applies to Web 2.0, by the way. So we're providing tools for automation where none of this is a chore. It could be as simple as asking your bot in a very ChatGPT manner to do something. And it actually has enough integrations. It can actually find the services to actually perform the task. And that's we're spending our life doing some really unimportant things which we want to cut out and automate. So we've seen the rise of these automation services, but they're mostly for corporates. We're also bringing this to small businesses, to individuals, to peer-to-peer networks. So automation is the second part of this jigsaw. Yeah, hopefully that covers your question.
Yeah, yes, it does. I was just trying to wrap my mind around how you guys are trying to I guess in a lot of ways disrupt companies, I guess like Google, that depends on advertising for their revenue. but also you said something about helping, I guess, applications to be more efficient in terms of automation. I think I think having good user experience is something that we desperately need in the Web3 space, and it sounds like part of what the problems you guys are going to be helping us solve is, like automating most of these mundane tasks that we do. And it sounds like Fetch.ai will be helping in that regards. Am I right?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. But just to enable automation doesn't solve the discovery problem. So search and discovery is a very key component, because to enable all these automations, the developers need to be able to find these services they can just easily put together, or automate even just putting the services together. So that creates this huge, Web 2.5/Web 3.0 marketplaces, which kind of are dynamic, which are easily discoverable and easily connectable, rather than spending weeks and months of the development time. You could easily do that within minutes, where you can discover it and connect with it.
Well, it sounds amazing. I think a lot of I guess developers and machine learning engineers that's like music to their ears.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So we're quite excited. We'll be showcasing all these technologies, in actually in operation and working, connected very soon. And that's and we'll invite all the developers to kind of come and build on this new platform, new technology, new framework, which really changes the game.
Very exciting, very exciting. I think this leads to my next and final question. Can you give us some highlights of a few items from your 2023 roadmap for our audience, something to look forward to?
Our biggest highlight is really to get this whole system working together, because we've been building all these components, and to be fair, the community has been also asking, what are you doing this for? What are you doing this for? As a standalone system, for example, collaborative learning, co-learn, which we have a system which enables you to train these machine learning models, get these insights into this agent-based system, is just a standalone system. We will be showcasing how all of these technologies we just talked about, how this search and discovery, how can you deploy an agent, how can you use it in DeFi space, how can you use it in gig economy, how can you use it in travel. This is not a vertical specific technology. This is a game changer for all the verticals. So you could actually use it for all the verticals. And our roadmap this year is mostly based on showing people how to use it, deploying some solutions where people can see how how you can build on it, and onboarding the developers here to come and build on this new technology. So that's really our key objectives of 23.
Awesome. I'm glad you mentioned how this can also apply to DeFi and a lot of other industries in the crypto space. Because funny enough, one of the questions one of our audience asked us is, how does this apply to DeFi? And I'll if it's okay with you, if you can stay towards the end where we do the Q&A, we'll ask that question.
Sure.
But definitely something I would like to get your opinion on.
That's great. Sure, absolutely.
All right. So that's all the questions I have. Thank you so much, Humayun, for joining us today, sharing your insights and telling us about Fetch.ai. I know Fetch.ai is one of the top trending AI tokens recently, as soon as the whole AI narrative kind of went mainstream. So I'm glad you're able to join us today.
Thank you.
All right. So we are going to move on to our next guest speaker. So we're going to introduce Jack from Aspecta. And Aspecta is, I think they do a lot when it comes to the digital identity for businesses, projects, DAO. So I'm very excited to see what Jack can educate our audience about when it comes to identity. So Jack, thank you for joining us today.
Hi, thank you for hosting. Hi everyone, this is Jack. Just now I gave a brief introduction about Aspecta, the Aspecta ID, the AI-generated identity for pioneer builders. So the reason we put an AI layer on the aggregated account is that we realized just aggregate different social accounts across Web 2 and Web 3 does not give enough incentive for those ID holders to use this actual ID. So when we talk to builders, that especially Web3 developers, they all told us that they have like many data on chain and on web. For example, they have lots of data on GitHub, but there is no way for them to demonstrate this achievement. So that's the reason we have this Aspect ID, use AI technology to reveal the insight based on your web and on-chain data. So that's a motivation.
Great. I know developers will definitely find that very helpful. Can you tell us what specific role AI plays in this in that sector?
Yeah, so if you link your account, for example, your GitHub account to Aspecta, our AI technology will do text code analysis and network analysis to say, okay, what skill do you have based on all your code contributions? This includes an LLP and large language model, and also we will put like all your code contribution into different embeddings, so we understand like your function call relationship, the semantics to say what's your proficiency. And then we also do network analysis to see who are your collaborators, who give your stars, just random people or senior engineers. So use our AI layer, our dynamic AI layer, we could help those Aspect ID holders to demonstrate what's have contribution, what's the proficiency, and why, which repo proof, which commit prove this quantification. So this is an example how our AI technology help those developers to demonstrate their achievements in GitHub, and that's also true for Twitter, Stack Overflow, and on-chain activities.
Wow. That that sounds like something that's gonna be very, very helpful. Moving forward. Can you explain how get into more details of how Aspecta can help layer 1 and layer 2 protocols and DAOs to streamline their operation?
Yeah, exactly. We have been actively collaborate with they want to onboard more developers. They want to understand what the background of their developers. So, for example, we have been collaborate with like different blockchain ecosystem to do the hackathons. So for all the developers for these hackathons, they have to use the Aspecta ID to register. So these hackathons, this layer 1, layer 2 blockchains will have a better understanding regarding the background, the skill set of these developers who want to do the hackathon or who want to join the ecosystem. And then all their achievement data, for example, their if they are what the ranking, their achievements in hackathons in ecosystem will go back to their Aspect ID, which means these Aspecta ID holders will have this credential to demonstrate if they have achieved certain rankings in certain hackathon, if they build something like impressive in certain ecosystem. So I think our synergy with different like layer 1 and layer 2 blockchains that help them to build the builder identity infrastructure, onboard more developers to build in the ecosystem and to understand where to educate these developers. Because actually there are 3 functions for Aspect ID. What I just mentioned is the first function, demonstrate. And also I mentioned a little bit about the document your achievements in hackathons, in ecosystems. And also Aspecta is working with different ecosystems, applications to provide some education content. So let's say if you finish your courses related to Solidity, then you have this verifiable credential on your Aspect ID. Let's say you finish a test or some questionnaire are provided by a certain protocol or layer one solutions, then you have a verifiable credential on your Aspect ID to say, hey, I have already have some knowledge about this layer one. I might be better than other developers to start building this ecosystem. So yeah, with layer one, layer two blockchains, we mostly help them to like onboard more developers, build a more dynamic and close developer ecosystem.
Very, very interesting. The more you explain your product, it sounds like it's going to be some kind of a way to verify like skill sets, verify, I guess, the capability of performing certain like responsibilities. And the more I think about it, I think about like soul-bound tokens. Is that
Exactly.
is that am I on the same wavelength? Is that kind of what you guys do?
Yes. So for Aspect ID, actually we call Aspect ID as Aspect ID pack. So when you link all your accounts to Aspecta, you have a AI generated identity that include AI generated personal web page. If you want your on-chain identity, you can like have your own AI generated soulbound token. You can choose whatever the data or the AI generated content Aspecta provide for you to put it on chain. That's the soulbound token part. And we are also working with different metaverse to say how we create a metaverse strings for those like Aspecta holders. But that is something maybe in the future. Right now, we're focused on the AI generated personal web page and the AI generated soulbound token.
Right. Awesome. Can you touch briefly about how you guys help DAOs?
Yeah. So yeah, for example, we have a very close relationship with BuilderDAO. So in the BuilderDAO, they really want to help builders to like build something together. So they have to they ask all the builders in the BuilderDAO to use Aspect ID so they can have a better understanding regarding those verifiable skills these developers have. So they can better match those developers with similar background or similar interests that can build something together. It's also another way for them to verify the members in this DAO system. So because this DAO system is a little bit picky about the members, they want their members are actual builders. So Aspect ID works as the background check tool for them. Also work as a DAO management tool for them to create a more, I would say, efficient collaboration system.
Great. Yeah, it sounds very exciting. So I guess what are some of the future plans for Aspecta moving forward?
Yeah. I mean, 2023 is a big year for Aspecta because we have been building our product, our ecosystem for quite a long time in silent. So, as I just mentioned before, we will have our open beta coming around April and May. So that means anyone, of course, we focus on builders and developers during the first stage. Anyone can open their Aspect ID, and that is a beginning for us to create this ecosystem. So I would like to invite everyone here to follow Aspecta Twitter. So we will have more like update regarding our product progress. On the other hand, we have already collaborating with different hackathons. For example, we are the technology partner of Stanford University Official Hackathon. We will also be the technology partner for the Harvard Web3 Conference Hackathon as well as Berkeley, Yale. So all these hackathons are powered by Aspect ID, which means the participant will use the Aspect ID to join the hackathon, interact with each other. So if you are developers who want to join these hackathons, still please follow our Twitter, and we have more of these campaigns to come. So yeah, I mean, 2023 is a big year for us because our product is about to announce. Our ecosystem partners are ready to help. Let's work together to see what we can achieve in the year of 2023.
Awesome, very exciting. If you're a developer in our audience, please go follow Aspecta. You're doing a lot of cool things. So thank you so much, Jack, for joining us today and sharing your insights about Aspecta and letting us learn more about what you guys do and also your involvement in the AI industry. We wish you guys the best. And once again, thank you for joining us today.
No problem. Yeah, I do want to mention that if you are not a developer, you can also follow Aspect ID because, as I mentioned, developer is our first stage meaning audience. But Aspect ID is like actually not only for developers, but for everyone in Web3 and Web2.
Right.
So you can just stay tuned. And also, if you are not a developer right now, but you want to know some developers courses contents to engage with different protocols or layer 1 and layer 2 solutions from a developer's angle, you can always stay tuned with us because, as I mentioned, we provide these courses and contents for different protocols, different like ecosystem, layer 1, layer 2 blockchains. Yeah. So just to highlight this. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you for providing that clarification. Like I said, again, we wish you guys all the best. And once again, thank you for joining us today.
No problem. Thank you.
All right. Next, we're going to move on to another very exciting project called DeepBrain Chain. And we have Feng. Feng, I'm glad to have you here with us.
Yeah. I mean,
cool. Let's start with an overview. Can you give us a brief overview of what DeepBrain Chain is to our audience?
Okay. DeepBrain Chain was founded in 2017 with the vision of building an infinitely stable distributed high-performance computing network based on blockchain technology in order to become the most important computing infrastructure in the area of AI and the metaverse. A DeepBrain Chain contains three important parts: a high-performance computing network, blockchain mainnet, and GPU computing mainnet. And high-performance computing network officially launched at the end of the 2018. A blockchain mainnet May 2021. A GPU computing mainnet launched on November 2021. The mainnet of DeepBrain Chain is developed based on Polka substrate, and the DeepBrain Chain is also one of the very few high-performance computing projects in the blockchain industry that have achieved a large-scale implementation. It has been widely used in various scenarios such as AI intelligence, cloud gaming, and cloud internet cafes, and also ZK mining. Provide high-performance GPU computing capabilities for mining enterprises. For more than 50 manufacturers around the world have deployed high-performance GPU cloud platforms based on DeepBrain Chain network, serving hundreds of enterprises and tens of thousands of AI developer groups. For example, if you want to use DBC GPU for AI training and reasoning, you can rent machines from Highball.io. If you want to play cloud gaming, you can use DeepLink.cloud. Also, if you want to run GPUs to mine NU, you can use Turing.cloud. These are all products based on DeepBrain Chain. Thank you.
Great. Thanks for that overview. So we recently seen OpenAI, ChatGPT, and how that's the rise of those companies have essentially made the price of or the value of a lot of AI tokens to kind of surge, including DeepBrain Chain. I guess what's the relationship between DeepBrain Chain and maybe something like ChatGPT? How do you guys compare and differentiate between those types of companies?
ChatGPT is a representative product In the field of AIGC, the development and operation of products such as ChatGPT requires massive GPU resources as support. DeepBrain Chain vision is to build an infinite scalable high-performance distributed computing power network. That is, in the future, there will be more and more products similar to ChatGPT, and they all need large number of GPUs to provide computing power. This is the opportunity for DBC.
Wow. Yeah. That's something I've read about, how the more companies like ChatGPT, come to the market, it'll require a lot of, I guess, you said GPUs in order to meet that demand. And you said, deep brain chain is, I guess, will play a huge part in helping that, right?
Yeah.
Great. Sounds good. So I guess my next question here is, like, what's the final goal for deep brain chain? Like, what are you guys aiming to solve?
DeepBrain Chain's vision is to build an infinitely scalable high-performance distributed computing power network, creating a computing power infrastructure for AI and metaverse, and become the world's largest GPU computing power network with more than 1 million GPU computing power. That's our final goal.
Wow. So it seems you guys are really positioning yourself for that GPU's market. Very, very exciting.
Yeah. Especially for the metaverse and some chat GPU and AIGC in the next 10 years. Maybe 1 million GPU is very more. Yeah, maybe we 5 million or even more is impossible. We think that.
Right. Awesome. Can you, for our audience who don't know what AIGC is, can you elaborate more on that? What that means?
AIGC, that is AI generated application. ChatGPT is very impressive. Is one of the representative product of AIGC. Yeah.
Got it. Thanks for providing that clarification. Yeah. So tell us about, like, your roadmap for 2023. Like, what should our audience, look forward to?
We just released the 2023 roadmap. For more details, you can follow our official Twitter. But I will see some highlights. Yeah. The first, we will support the inference deployment of ChatGPT like large models. And the second, that the development and launch to support the short-term plus rent model of GPU servers. Also, we will launch the AIGC development contest for global developers to create an AI computing power ecosystem. If you are interested, everyone can join us. And besides, we will development and launch the cloud game cafe system. Yeah, that's the basic. This is the main roadmap for 2021, 23. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Thank you for providing that information to us. Sounds like you guys have a lot of exciting, products, coming up here pretty soon this year. So yeah, that's all the questions I have for you today, Feng. Thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us today about deep brain chain and the AI industry. Again, we wish you guys all the best and moving forward. So thank you once again for joining us.
Okay, thank you.
Great. Now we'll move to our next guest speaker, Zachary from GNY. Zachary, can you share with us how GNY is innovating with the blockchain and AI industry technology?
Yeah, definitely. First of all, great to be here. Really interesting conversation. I feel like everyone's learning a lot, and it's an it's an exciting time to be within this space. I think.
Sorry, Zachary, can you speak a little bit louder? I can barely hear you.
Yeah, no problem. How's this?
It's a little bit better. Yeah.
Okay. I can put in my headset. Just give me 1 second. How's this?
Oh, much
Okay.
better. Thank you so
I
much for
think my
that.
speakers on my iPhone are blessed. So I just want to say, I think a lot of other teams are feeling this right now. ChatGPT, OpenAI, it's brought all this attention into the space, which is excellent. You know, it's good to have attention. It's good to have prices rising. It's good to have investment into the space, but it's an innovation that kind of opened everyone's eyes to how real the AI revolution is. You know, AI has been, you know, integral into all of our lives for such a long time, but this was the first thing that I think for a lot of, I would say, novice or consumer level users made it feel real, right? And for a lot of people, that point with blockchain happened a couple of years ago. So that these technologies are really penetrating so deep into everyone's lives is bringing a lot of attention. It's definitely an exciting time for us. For Genie, GNY, we're also an older blockchain product. We've been around for about 4 years, and our activity in the space really, you know, traces back to our two founders. I'm one of the only individuals on this call today who's not a founder, because our team is global and our founders are in Europe. It's the middle of the night there. But both Cosmos Wong and Richard Jarrett were, you know, successful in their own rights respectively within ML and AI and within blockchain, and came together to build this company. And we started with experimentation. So we looked at what the unique opportunities were within AI and the unique opportunities within blockchain. So, you know, AI allows a computer to help you make, you know, more informed decisions than a human can make on their own. And blockchain allows this amazing ability for decentralized collaboration and auditability. So when you put those two things together, you start to see opportunities where, you know, AI could potentially access information that's available on chain with more auditability and more transparency and more verifiable content than is potentially available within centralized systems. So you have information you can trust more given the right circumstances. And from an AI perspective, blockchain offers this other opportunity where potentially you can, you know, open up the doorway to collaboration through data which is normally siloed. So traditionally, most AI systems work on siloed information. You know, a data lake holding a bunch of information is mined using AI and ML, and you get some really interesting outputs. But, you know, we were really fascinated by the opportunity of, or the idea of, could this system eventually work in a decentralized fashion? And we're starting to see that now. So having done some experiments in our first couple of years, we identified where we thought the exciting opportunities were, and we started building tools and networks within what we thought was the most prevalent space for most crypto users, and that's trading. So for the last couple of years, Genie is really focused on democratizing AI tools, bringing AI, the most powerful AI and ML tools, to everyday traders to enhance and provide them more insights for their cryptocurrency trading. So Genie has a main chain. We have a reward system, a proprietary data warehouse, and last year we launched the Genie Range Report, which brings, you know, state-of-the-art AI and ML forecasting for Bitcoin and Ethereum to traders, and is expanding to the top 10 tokens by this spring. So that's where we're gonna use this kind of use case in this domain to expand out collaborative AI tools and build the functionalities that then can kind of spill into additional arenas as we go forward.
Yeah, thanks for providing that overview about what Genie does. I mean, feel free to dive deeper into this, but it seems like you've already kind of explained it a little bit. But how does Genie like make AI accessible to everyone? It sounds like you guys mostly focus on traders. Do you guys have any plans to expand to other like areas of the
Yeah,
market?
so our strategy is pretty pragmatic. We're starting with trader information in order to build all of the infrastructure to allow the sharing of data sets, the sharing of algorithms or specific approaches within data management or data insights. And once we develop all of those core technologies using the trading platforms, we really hope to expand that to other data intensive areas. My background is within health sciences, and you're seeing some really amazing innovation using AI and ML to crack some of those codes. And we heard from some of our other panelists, how AI is being applied into all these different sectors. We're using trading information as our kind of pathway in to build platform scalable technologies. And once we get them up and running and perfected, I think the company has a lot of aspirations to expand our areas of focus as those technologies are developed.
Great. That's pretty exciting. Looking forward to seeing what those other areas will be in the future. Yeah, definitely. Can you share more about projects that you currently have in the pipeline for
Yeah,
Genie?
definitely. So, using the core, focusing on the core trading tools, we're expanding forecasting and indicators, as I said, for the top 11 tokens by the end of this spring. We're also going to be introducing a gamified wisdom of the crowd tool and some virtual trading games to engage some of this wisdom of the crowd components that will allow people to engage in playful activity, but capture some of the really interesting scientific information that happens when groups of people think about topics together. So we've been writing on this in our medium for a while, but wisdom of a crowd is a really interesting scientific theory that dates back 1800s, where groups of relatively uninformed individuals can often outperform experts. And when you're looking at feeding algorithms and ML systems with data, this data point often provides a really powerful insight or indicator into a system. So we're looking at expanding the availability of games within our system and using our mainnet to power some specific algorithms and training tools. And you'll see some of that coming out this year as well.
Very interesting. Can you share more about the thing about the wisdom of the crowd thing? That's something that really caught my attention. Can you dive a little bit deeper into
Yeah,
that?
for sure. So we've been doing some research internally that looks at some of these kind of social media or sentiment analysis. A lot of people are looking into scraping data, let's say from Twitter, about conversations around BTC and how does it affect BTC's price. And we've been doing informal investigations into how these sentiment aggregators perform in terms of the validity of them as a data source versus a direct sentiment or crowd poll. And our data is showing that wisdom of the crowd data is actually a much more valuable source than current technologies allow for sentiment analysis just by scraping Twitter. So we're really interested in opening up the ability for ourselves to harness this data for our algorithms, for our forecasting, but also to make that tool available for companies in the future to be able to pull large groups of people and build that in, not necessarily as a single point indicator for their decision making, but actually, a data point within their overall ecosystem that can be used to build powerful algorithms and ML networks. So that's something that we're going to be building this year, and we're really excited about. We're actually making an official announcement tomorrow about it on our Telegram and on our Twitter. But yeah, we've been building our core technologies, our mainnet, our data warehouse, our mobile app for the last couple of years. And similar to some of the other projects here, we're really excited to start connecting those pieces and growing tools and experiences that users can play with live.
Wow, that's very, very exciting. I can't wait. I can't wait to see that actually. So I'll definitely be following up to see what you guys announce about that particular product. Very, very exciting. So I guess my final question here is like, where do you see the most exciting technical innovations emerging in the AI and blockchain space?
Yeah, it's really great to be on this call because I see so many groups approaching this from different angles, and it's really exciting, right? I think innovators in this space really support each other, and I think rising tide rises all ships. I think at Genie, what we're most excited about is the ability for smart contracts and really powerful ML to work together. The ability to have trustless systems where you can share your data into an ML algorithm and know that it's only going to be used for that purpose, and you can be remunerated or paid for the use of that data according to its effectiveness. The ability in the future for people to collaborate on ML in a trustless system where they can actually track how that data was used and where it was effective and how they're getting paid for it, opens up the ability for companies to share data in an unprecedented way. And that's what we really want to work for. We want to see companies collaborate a lot more and stop being scared of sharing data, building tools that will allow for trustless ML collaboration.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that because actually Joshua from Synopsis One, he's still here on the call. Like it sounds like that's something like potential collaboration, because they help a lot of projects.
Yeah.
I guess reward people for providing good data.
Yeah, Joshua, it was great to hear your segment. It's really exciting to hear what you guys are doing.
Yeah, thank you for the comment. Yeah, it sounds like you're into really amazing stuff as well. This is really cool.
Awesome, and also I think Aspecta. I think Jack already left, but he mentioned something about like basically decentralized like identity. Yeah, I think that's something that can also play a part here, where people can still share the data, but kind of be anonymous or retain some of the privacy, but still be able to share data. And to basically use that in applications somehow. I mean, I'm not the expert here, but I'm just trying to like put all the pieces together. But yeah, I definitely saw some synergies between you and Synopsis One.
For sure.
All right. Thank you so much, Zachary, for sharing your insight with us. I can't wait. Like I said, I can't wait to see what you guys announce tomorrow. I'll definitely be keeping my eyes on that. And I'm positive that our audience actually learned a lot about AI and what you guys are doing for Genie. So thank you so much for joining us.
My pleasure.
Awesome. All right. Now we're going to move to the Q&A session of the Twitter space. I know it's getting a little bit late here, so we're going to like kind of run through this really quickly. Before we do that, I would like to announce that our 50th anniversary celebration for Bitmart is kicking off on March 14th. And this will be a 3-day event with special guest appearance by the founder and CEO of Bitmart, with several key leaders in the blockchain space. So look for more announcements about this event in the next couple of days. Also, for our listeners who just joined, who joined a little bit late, do not forget to participate in our quiz for a chance to win 50 USDT. Again, the quiz question is, what was the total trading volume for Bitmart in 2022? So yeah, so simply follow the instructions on the pinned tweets, and remember to use hashtag Bitmart off the chain to increase the chances for winning. Now, let's go to the first Q&A question here. So for our speakers, just you can decide to answer this however you want. But one of the first questions we have from our audience is, what are the biggest challenges in merging AI and blockchain? Does anybody want to take that? Like the biggest challenges in merging AI and blockchain technology?
Yeah, maybe I could just
go ahead,
share my thoughts. Oh,
yeah. I will answer this question. Yeah.
okay.
DeepBrain chain's vision is to build an infinite, scalable, high-performance distributed computing power. So the network environment it faces is very complex. When the computing power network have tens of thousands or more nodes, how to ensure the stable, safe, and efficient operation of the network is a very big challenge for us. Yeah.
Yeah, I tend to agree with that as well, because like the current the AI dominance is really based on supercomputing. I mean, like all these big techs have like let me just put things into perspective. Like so, ChatGPT, they raised basically about $4 billion from Microsoft to get to where they are. So they got started back in 2016. It took them a couple of years to get to where they are. Now, what percentage of that 4 billion did they actually spend on the cloud computing? So like I think they're spending something like pretty close to $100 million a month, and that's how much money that they have to spend just to keep up. Obviously, they have 100 million users, but the amount of computing that they have to go through is just insane. So when I look at our current blockchain infrastructure, I mean, even with the best of the best EVMs out there, I'm just not sure whether it can handle that kind of computing processing. I think some of the most high performant blockchain like Solana, I mean, it has blackouts and has issues. So I think for overall blockchain infrastructure to be able to scale itself and handle that kind of processing, I think it'll take a little bit of time. Now, if you use more like a symbolic AI, then I think the amount of computing required is much less. So I think it's a lot more doable. So maybe we could come up with a very clever solution at the application level, and then keep the infrastructure computing side relatively light. But I think this whole infrastructure issue for blockchain today can be a hindrance for the marriage between blockchain and AI. But I'm also I'm sure there are a lot of engineers out there who are very clever that they can probably find a solution.
Yeah, definitely. I think yeah, like you said, there's a lot of smart people in this industry. I don't know because again, I'm not an expert in this, but I'm just thinking about, I know there's a lot of talks about like layer 2 solutions, like basically performing some off-chain transactions to kind of reduce the workload on the main layer 1 protocol. But yeah, it's something that I think there's enough smart people in this industry to figure that out. But definitely, like you guys said, those are very, very challenging things in the industry that we'll have to face eventually moving forward. Yeah, and the last question here is, can AI be applied in DeFi, GameFi, NFT, or the metaverse? I think we've already answered this, but do you guys want to chime in and provide more insight about this?
Yeah, this one we covered pretty deeply. It definitely can, and it's not that it can. It is already making waves here. I think you're only going to see AI influence trading, insights, forecasts, and data capture tools just expanding. It's not a question of if, it's just how much more.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. I can see AI playing a huge part in DeFi, for example, to because there's a lot of data there that AI can use to, I guess, do some predictive analytics to predict, maybe high I guess high APY in a particular yield farming protocol, or basically make predictions of the top DeFi projects, or whatever. There's a lot of application when it comes to, I guess, AI. So long as you have the data, and you have, to Joshua's point, if those data are accurate, and basically garbage in, garbage out. If you provide good data, you get a better result. So I definitely think there's an application there for AI. All right. Thank you guys for answering those questions from our audience. And that's all the time we have for today's AMA. I want to thank all our guest speakers for joining us today, and also special thanks to our amazing audience for attending and staying we've been here for like an hour and a half. So thank you so much for spending the time with us here. So yeah, that's it from me. And thank you, everybody. Have a lovely day, and I will see you on the next episode of Off the Chain AMA. Take care, everybody.
Okay.
Thank you,
Thanks,
everybody.
everyone.
Okay, bye.
All right. Bye-bye.